Hello everyone, my name is Bogdana. I'm 23 years old. I'm from Ukraine and I'm a professional sailing skipper. Last 3 years I've been traveling around the world, sailing on different boats, in different places, and now I feel that it's time to share my story and share my experience. Let's start from the beginning. Basically, I spent most of my childhood on boats because we found a sailing school and I started to sail on dinghies like Optimist. Still remains my favorite one. Slowly, I started to show good results and started to participate in competitions, regattas around the country. In 2013, I became a champion of Ukraine. Our team from Kiev was visiting different competitions around the country every now and then, and I spent in the school 6 years. Then my family and I we moved from Kiev to Odessa, which is a city in the south of Ukraine at the Black Sea, and I changed the sailing school. To be honest, I didn't like it. Everything was really different. And after a year, I quit the school. At the time I thought I'm done with sailing, but no. Basically, what was the reason why I moved to Odessa? My dad had an idea to start a family business on a boat, do small charters with tourists, day trips around Odessa. My dad offered me a job to help him out on the boat, to be a deckhand. Since I wanted my own money, I agreed for that. And that's how it all started. I started to work full-time. It was cold summer, every summer, 15 hours per day, like really tired. We just kind of got used to it. My mother was on the phone, my father was a captain, I was a deckhand. Later, my brother joined us, he was a deckhand as well. Just before my 18th birthday, my dad offered me a gift to pay for my theory sailing course, after which I could pass my exam and get license for a skipper. I decided why not. I visited 2 month course. I didn't know when exactly I could go for the exam, and they texted me just a couple days before, and I spent like many hours studying, reviewing all the tickets for the exam. When the time came, I came to the class. It was quite easy, quite quickly for me. I finished like second. I remember this moment, walking on the street and calling my dad. I passed my exam, I'm a skipper now. It was quite amazing. My first skipper experience was a trip where I invited my classmates. It was the moment when I realized I'm responsible now, because all the time before, even though I was steering a lot, I was talking with clients, I knew what to expect, and my dad could go inside and do his own stuff, and I could steer for a long time and nothing would happen. But I always knew that my dad is on the boat, so I knew that I'm not completely responsible. And this the trip with classmate was my first time when I went out by myself. My brother was my deckhand, and I realized that I'm responsible for the people's lives, for the boat, and it was a really scary moment for me. I mean, everything went good. I went out, we sailed a little bit and came back. It was amazing. In the end, my classmates just hugged me out of gratitude. Later, the next summer, when I was 19 already, I started to take clients, doing my first trips by myself. It was a lot of learning because the customers were really different. It was challenging because in terms of, I was 19 years old, basically a teenager, and on the boat there were like a group of adults, and I needed to make it safe. So when someone was doing something stupid, something childish, I needed to be quite strict and explain not to do something, don't jump in the water or something like that. And some people just didn't understand, and it was I was trying to find this line, like to be respectful, because I'm much younger than them, but I was a captain and the safety was my first priority. So yeah, it was challenging time to time. Most of people were really nice, but there were some trips really challenging for me. And this summer I came up with an idea to make it more about sailing, because last 4 years it was always the same, like 2 or 3 hour trip. And the thing was that the customers, they didn't really appreciate sailing. Some of them even thought that I hosted the sails just to take nice pictures. Something was missing for me and I wanted to do it more about sailing, real sailing. I started my page on Instagram, gathered my own team, 6 people, which teach how to sail. I decided that sometimes, a couple of times a week, I will do some training sessions, like lessons, early in the morning, 7 to 9. I remember really good my first lesson when 6 strangers came on the boat. At the time, I didn't have any experience how to teach. I didn't know how to explain anything, and I felt really awkward. But we went out. I started to tell everything I knew, how the sails work, how to tack, how to go downwind, everything, whatever came to my mind. And in the end, we came back. I said goodbye to these 6 people, and I had no idea how it went. So by the end of the day, I already kind of accepted, okay, I tried. Maybe it's my first and last lesson, but it's fine, I tried, it's good already. In the evening, in the group chat, I texted, let me know if anybody wants to continue and wants to come on the next lessons. All 6 people said, yes, I will be there. And it was kind of shocking for me. I didn't expect that. I couldn't believe that it was happening. I would say it was one of the brightest moments of my life when I realized I can do something, and it gave me so much confidence. It went on. We were doing these lessons a couple of days a week. Some people came from other places, they lived quite far, but they came at 7 a.m. just to visit my lessons, and I really appreciated it. It was really amazing time for me because I was learning a lot as well. People say when you start teaching, you learn yourself as well, and I couldn't agree more. Later, in the end of October, I organized a sailing charter in Turkey. Most of the people that came, it were also part of my team that I taught how to sail. The charter in Turkey was really amazing. We visited Gölcük and some places around, beautiful bays, and explored the land, did paragliding as well. It was really amazing trip. I really liked this idea and I decided I should develop that. The whole winter I was working on ideas, how to make more trips, and was preparing for the next trip in spring. But the war had started in Ukraine and it changed all the plans. In a couple of months, the situation got really difficult, so I decided to look for a job in Europe. First time in my life, I made a resume, sent it to all companies that I could find. I don't know how many, but there were a lot, and I just personally to every company sent an email with my CV and offering to help out as a deck and basically any position. But nobody answered me. Only maybe 2 or 3 companies said, sorry, we don't need a crew. It was kind of disappointing. But then made me make another decision just to go to Europe and figure it out. And that's how I started traveling. When I was in Ukraine, I found sailing communities on Facebook, and I posted that I'm looking for a job and I have this experience. Nobody answered again. And in 1 month after traveling, when I felt I'm a little tired and I need a place to stay, get some rest, I posted it again on Facebook. And only in 1 month after that, I got a message. At the time I was in France, on my way to Spain. The owner of one company texted me that he needs some help for the summer in south of Spain. It was quite far from everything, so it was quite risky to go there if something didn't work out. I decided to try, and we agreed about the meeting. That's how I ended up getting my first job in Europe. My first week I was deckhand, and then my employer gave me an opportunity to try to skipper the catamaran. It was Lagoon 38. It went well, so 50% I worked as a deckhand and the other 50% I worked as a captain, getting more experience, more confidence. During the summer, I still was deciding what to do next after the season. I don't remember how, but I came up with this idea to cross the Atlantic Ocean on a boat. And I didn't know how to find a boat, so I came back to the sailing communities on Facebook and posted again, I'm looking for a boat, I have this experience, and so on. And surprisingly for me, in 1 week I found the captain that was looking for a crew. We had video call and agreed about everything. In October, I was supposed to join the team to cross the Atlantic. I couldn't believe that it was happening. It wasn't even a dream. I wasn't brave enough to dream about something like that. In October, I flew to the Canary Islands. I met with the captain, with 2 other crew. Our first passage was from the Canary Islands to Cabo Verde. It took us 1 week. It was kind of getting used to the ocean. It was my first experience sailing in the ocean. Cabo Verde, one of the crew left, and it was 3 of us. And we continued our way to the Caribbean. The second passage took us 2 weeks. We had trade winds and the weather was good, but still it was really challenging. The waves were quite high. It took us like at least 3 days to adapt to the conditions, and I couldn't eat anything for a few days. With the time, I got used, and in 1 week after the beginning, I actually started to enjoy it. Yeah, it was challenging but amazing at the same time. It was really great experience, and I was really lucky with the team. We became a family in such a short amount of time. Even after arrival, we continued sailing in the Caribbean, island hopping, exploring the islands together for like a month and a half. I never knew that it was possible, but I found this way, and it was like one of the greatest periods of my life. We reached Martinique after 1 month and a half. It was just before Christmas. I needed to leave this boat that we crossed the Atlantic on. I was trying to find a job, like through Facebook communities, websites, everything possible. I found an option in the Bahamas. An owner of the boat offered me a position as a captain to sail with the owners together around the Bahamas for a couple of months. The connection between the islands and the Caribbean is really bad. And my flight got cancelled 2 times. On the second time, I discovered that I need visa to the Bahamas. I was trying to get visa as well. The situation was really complicated, so I couldn't provide all the documents needed. It didn't work out. I lost the job opportunity because I didn't get my visa. Eventually, I spent like 40 days on Martinique, hopping from boat to like staying with friends that I met on the island. And I found another boat. The captain agreed to give me a ride from Martinique to Saint Martin, also visiting some islands on the way. So it took us 1 month to get there. On Saint Martin, I started to look for a job again. I spent the 2 months. I raced on a catamaran there, working in a restaurant, sometimes working on charter boats, cleaning boats, everything possible, and moving from place to place, living like in really different conditions. Before that, I was deciding what to do after the Caribbean. I had 2 options: try to get my visa to the United States, or go to Mexico to travel there. When I wanted to get my visa, I called my friends that they were already in America, and they told me that they can be my sponsors, and I can get a status as a refugee and go there when I get my documents. And for a couple of months we were working on documents, applying for like everything. In 2 months on St. Martin, I found out that I got green light. I can go to New York, and I bought my ticket, and it was really exciting for me. I never expected that I would go to the United States one day, but yeah, it was really happening. So I flew from St. Martin to New York, and first couple of weeks I spent with I lived with my friends. Then I was looking for a job again, and after a week or two, like walking around the marinas asking if they have any available positions for me, it was kind of unsuccessful. And then I just went to Google Maps, typed boat charters, something like that, and they showed me like 5 companies, and I found the company's emails, sent them my resume, and one company answered me and said, yeah, we have an available position, you can work for us. And that's how I found a job for the summer in New York. It was charters around the Statue of Liberty. The owner organized a system where I could work as a captain as well. So some trips I worked as a captain. And since I was a refugee, I had a status, I had a work permit, so it was all legal. The whole summer I worked there, got a lot of new experience. In September, I left New York. I spent 5 months in New York and then left to travel to the Pacific coast. Then spent 1 month volunteering in Hawaii and went to Florida to look for a job again. In Florida, the situation was really different. I didn't expect that there were not many sailing boats, mostly motor luxury yachts. It wasn't something that I was interested in. Couldn't find any job for a month. And there was another thing. I had my goal to get my Yachtmaster offshore. Since I had time and I knew there was a school on Antigua, so I had like 4 months time. I bought my online theory course, started to visit classes to get my STCW, medical. It was a lot of studying, but it wasn't the cheapest place to live, so I needed to make money. One day I went to clean a boat, big motorboat, and then I went to a boat show, working there for a week, and then I ended up working in a restaurant. Free time I spent like studying, passing my exams, getting all necessary certificates. Slowly the date of the exam was approaching. After 4 months in Florida, it was time to say goodbye to America, where I had really great time. Different time, but overall I really enjoyed it. I loved it. I flew to the Caribbean, to Antigua Island. It was 5 days of practice and then 2 days of exam. It was challenging, but I was prepared, so I passed my exam. In Florida, I also had a couple of options what to do next, and one of them was go to travel Central America or to go back to Europe, work again in Spain. And I decided to focus on my certificates and getting my license, and then just come back and work again. I didn't want to fly to Europe, so again, the same story. I was looking for a boat through Facebook communities, and it took me the whole month to find a boat, but eventually, just my last day in America, someone contacted me and they said, yeah, we need a crew. After Antigua, I flew to St. Martin and joined the catamaran Leopard 45. This crossing was actually really different from the first one. The wind wasn't really favorable. It took us 26 days with a stop in half a day in Bermuda. We reached the Azores, and from there I flew to Spain. It was not that challenging because the catamaran was stable even when it was too windy. It wasn't that bumpy and it wasn't really too exhausting. The catamaran was big, and it was only 3 of us. Everybody basically lived his own life. We did our watches, so we had like a certain schedule, so it was really easy, relatively. I came back to Spain. It was summer 2024. Worked the whole summer again. The whole summer I was studying for my next license, Oceanmaster. It was about astronavigation and it was really challenging, but at the end I was good at calculating, taking my sights. I passed my theory exam on Mallorca, then I took a qualifying passage from Gibraltar to the Canaries. It was only 4 days. I found the boat on Facebook. I took my sights during the passage, did my calculations, found my positions, and then flew back to Spain and had a meeting with the examiner. The exam was challenging, it wasn't perfect, but I passed it. I got my Oceanmaster. Still needed to decide what to do next, as always. The captain that I crossed the Atlantic Ocean for the first time, he was sailing from Brazil to Ushuaia, hoping to round the Cape Horn and sail for Patagonia. He texted me, offered me to join the team. It was a lifetime opportunity. Of course, I said yes. I came to Ushuaia when I met with the team. 4 of us, we rounded the Cape Horn. It was December 4th. Then, after the Cape Horn, 2 of teammates left, and the captain and me, we decided to continue our way to Patagonia. So it was a 2-month trip from Puerto Williams to Puerto Montt. It was a truly unique journey through fjords, glaciers, with really strong wind, different conditions, amazing views, an incredible experience. The next couple of months I traveled on land in South America. My plan was to fly back to Europe, work again in Spain. When I was in Peru, one captain contacted me asking to join them to help them out on the crossing. I decided that would be a good experience for me of sailing, so I agreed. I flew to the Caribbean, but there were some changes in the plan, so I left the boat. And suddenly I found another boat which was also heading to Europe, to France. It was Benito 40. Literally in one morning I decided to join them. It was 5 of us in the team. The crossing was the most challenging. A lot of problems like broken autopilot and other problems, but we were fixing on the way. Even though it was the most challenging, for me it was the best experience because I got so much useful experience how to fix things on the way. Basically about real sailing. When you don't have much, you just sleep wherever you found a place. You don't have a shower, you wash your dishes with salty water. And that's what I actually imagined about the ocean when I went for my first crossing. And first 2 crossings were quite easy for me comparing to the last one. Still, it was really amazing, and I consider myself lucky to find this boat. And I came back to Spain. That's where I am right now. What exactly I want to do? This is like an introduction video. I wanted to tell my story, not in many details. In the future, I want to tell more about getting my license, about finding a boat, about trips in Patagonia, about the crossings, with more details, sharing my experience, sharing mistakes, sharing stories, lessons. So I would really appreciate your feedback and let me know what you specifically interested in, and I'll try to tell as much as possible. Hopefully you'll enjoy it, and see you soon.